because we are live. Hello, everybody, and everything's good. Everyone's recording, and we are all here on a different night than we are usually around, and at a completely different time than we are normally around, for also a completely different set amount of time that we're going to be here. It's just one of those weeks, everybody, where we're all busy humans, and we want to fit in an episode for everybody.
May I just say that Ben's holding everything together so well.
Only with this hairband. That's it. That's all we're held together by. And that will probably disappear at some point in the near future, as hairbands do. I don't know why it's on my desk. Who knows? Let's begin properly then. Welcome, friends, to Tanked Up, the podcast about video games and beer. I'm your host, Ben. It's episode 317. I'm here with Lucy.
I'm tired.
And Aadil.
Yeah, I'm also tired, apparently.
Good. As this week we are just sitting in one episode, a little bit longer than each episode has been running for. We're just going to hit one beer for the week.
I could do 12. So
I mean, yeah, I've been feeling it definitely. I've kind of I went to the bottle shop yesterday. I'm like, I only need a couple of beers, but I did pick up several sort of extra, thinking, I can squeeze a couple of in, and maybe on a Thursday evening, maybe on a Friday evening, maybe I'll get some. But who knows at this point. Let's kick in with our beers then. Lucy, what are you going to drink?
I'm going to drink a beer from Crak Brewery in Italy.
Nice.
Never see their beers anymore, which is a shame. I shall blame Brexit, because it's probably the reason behind it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I never see their beers anymore. This one's a new one for me. It's called Crack Fresh. It's a 7.5% double dry hopped IPA. I can't read Italian that well. Beer fresh and best quality, maintained cold. Yeah, I can't read Italian that well.
That's fine.
But it's also in English.
Oh, good.
It says keep refrigerated.
Yeah.
Which I did. Yeah. No mention of which hops or malts or anything that I can see. So yeah, just a double dry hopped IPA.
Nice.
Wicked. Aadil, what are you drinking?
I've got a beer from Whiplash. It's called The Quiet Crowd. It's a robust brown. It is 5%, and as always, Whiplash has a very clean labeling with odd pictures.
Yes.
Yeah, swirly pictures usually.
It's I don't know if you can tell, but it's basically, I think it's a woman in a long, flowy top with her hands and one foot, but the rest has been edited out with a black and white photo of something.
It looks like a mushroom.
Yeah, I thought it was a shell at a distance. But
I think she's the proverbial she in the she sells. Why did I start this? I can't even get into the intro. I'm not going to go into the tongue twister.
That's fine. I am going to drink 5 a.m. from Verdant, which is a double IPA, 8%. It has got Citra, Mosaic, Simcoe, Nelson Sauvon in it. That's everything that they stick on. It's a lovely, slightly surrealist, cartoony, insane picture on the front. I think 5 a.m. is a beer that they brew regularly, maybe yearly, maybe not yearly, but I'm sure I've heard
daily.
I'm sure I've heard the name of the beer about before, but I don't think I've ever had it, so I picked it up. I thought, I haven't had a Verdant for a while, why not? We'll try this.
Nice.
And as we're all pouring, we'll roll back round to you, Lucy. What's the crack? Which is probably why I said straight to Aadil with, because he's got an Irish beer, but you know.
The crack is it's in a 400 ml can, which
400. Hmm.
Yeah, it's like, because sometimes I'm just like, don't want to go the whole shebang with a 500 or 440, but 330 is too small. 400's it's a nice. You can tell by the can because it's like less fat. But yeah, it's a nice amount. Ooh, smells of tropical stone fruits, mango, maybe a bit of papaya in there.
Nice.
Citrus. Yeah, it's I mean, it's a block of color. It just looks like juice. I'd say a bit darker than straw, yellow. Probably a bit coming up a bit lighter on the camera. But yeah, it smells lovely. That's nice. It's got like, I think the first thing I noticed was like a kind of like lemoniness to it, like a bit of sharper like citrus in it. Just, I mean, I'm knackered and like having that taste, it just like perks you up immediately. But yeah, super fresh.
As you'd expect from the name.
Yeah, and it's lighter bodied for a 7.5% beer as well. I'd say somewhere edging between light and medium. It's not quite one or the two, I'd say, but it's got sort of like that mouth coating, like sort of powderiness that some of the Boundary beers have. Just a little bit of that sensation. But yeah, really fruity. I'd say the fruit is probably a bit stronger on the nose than it is in the taste. I think I'm getting a bit more, as I say, a bit lemon, orange, not quite those like, tropical fruit flavors like mango and papaya, but it's still a decent beer. And after speaking for a while, it's starting to get this slight alcohol burn to it. So even though it's like, a bit lighter bodied than I'd expect for a 7.5%, still, it's bringing the alcohol still. And
nice.
Yeah, got a nice warm, slightly sweet, slightly caramel finish and a bit of bitterness as well, just to balance things out. But yeah, it's a good beer. I had a Pilsner from Crak earlier, and that was really nice. So
nice.
Yeah, I've never had a bad beer from them. I really like this brewery, and don't see enough of them in the UK.
No, absolutely. Did you find them in the bottle shop, or was this a mail order?
Yeah, from Honest Brew. They're the only people I can remember recently that I've seen actually stock them. Probably not looking in the right places also, but in my purview.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just Honest Brew. And they had like some of the ones, the classic ones that I've had from them, like, gosh, what are they called? The one with like the fist pointing upwards on the red can and stuff like that. It might be called Gorilla IPA or something like that. But yeah, these are some ones that I've never seen before, so don't know how new they are, or if it's just that this is what we're getting now after they've been on general release in Italy for years or something.
Years, yeah.
They're new to me. Yeah. Yeah, I love Crak.
Wicked, good.
Love that Crak.
And Aadil, what's the crack?
Just nice and brown. Minimal head, even on the pour. Smells a little sweet and malty, like syrupy. Not too burnt, but yeah, just nice, sweet smelling ale.
What was this beer style?
It's a robust brown. So it's a brown ale. Just a bit darker than you might think. I think.
Yeah, it looks almost more consistent with a porter or something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very portery, I would say.
Okay.
Quite malt forward. Slightly burnt notes on that malt, but I wouldn't be surprised if there were oats in this, just because it does have a bit of that that sort of thickness that oats maybe give. The finish is a little dry, and almost aspartame-y, but Yeah, I would call this a dark brown ale just to emphasize how much it is leaning to out of the. It's no Newcastle Brown, for example, right?
Right.
They call it robust, and I get that immediately. Like it is leaning into the maltier side. Mouthfeel is light. I mean, it's 5%, I think. Yeah. So I mean, it's really good. I mean, I'm a big fan of darker beers, and I think because I was prepared for a brown ale, this is a nice surprise. And I'm not usually, sometimes I'm like, oh, it's not thick enough because it's missing that alcohol that makes it sort of have a more velvety taste. This maybe suffers from that, but obviously I wasn't expecting it to be this robust, so it works as well. Yeah, it's not what I was expecting, and so I'm a little thrown off, but it's not in a bad way. Like I said, it tastes kind of like it looks.
Yeah.
Like dysentery in a can.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nice. So this 5 a.m. then from Verdant, it's got a really big tropical nose. I'm expecting this to be like juice bomb levels of double IPA. A little orangey in colour, but like yours, Lucy, like a solid block. God, that nose is lovely. Chug it back. Oh, that's good. That's really good, but it's not a juice bomb. It doesn't quite have those same levels of sweet tropical fruitiness that is a juice bomb, but that the nose kind of gives as well. There's a lot of mango in here, like a huge amount of mango. That's the big presiding sort of flavour in this. But there's also a little dankness in there as well. Not quite earthy, but something that is sort of just really ripe. Maybe like a ripe melon or something like that. That's just got a little bit of dankness to it, kind of not even weedy, like a bit more like mildewy, just that little hint of coming away from that sort of sweetness. It's got a bit of a bitterness towards the end, not very big, but something that slowly has crept in after a few sips. It wasn't there on the initial take, but it's seeping in just a little bit, and that's starting to linger a little as well. But it's not kind of piney, it's not dank, it's almost that kind of more smoky kind of bitterness, that more kind of like kind of ashy, sort of when you've had a really hard drag on a cigarette, and it's just that little bit strong and kind of ashy, and you're taking in just a little bit too much smoke. It's got a little bit of that on the end, only a hint of it.
Okay. Not what I expect with that style.
No, not what I expect with the style. Not what I expect from Verdant either. And it's
yeah, true.
It was only brewed like 2 weeks ago as well. So middle of March it was brewed. So it's pretty fresh. But it's not, straight out of the vat kind of fresh. So it's probably lost a little bit of its greenness and its hoppiness. And this is kind of what's kicking in instead. So yeah, I mean, it's good. I really enjoy it. I like a good bit of beer, as everybody knows. I like a nice fruity beer as well.
Yeah.
So these are a good few combination of flavours going on in this, and it's one of those beers that absolutely sort of hits you on that journey through it as well. That flavour profile flows through this quite nicely. So
yeah, you enjoy that Schwartz beer. Current ashy taste.
Let's drink these beers then, and we'll talk about some games. We are going to, I suppose, launch into our topic first, I thought, because then if we've got some time at the end of our episode, we might jump in to see what everyone's been playing for a brief 5 minutes. But we thought we'd talk a little this week about kind of genres, game genres that we feel maybe need a little bit more love, stuff that we'd like to see a little bit more of. because, and we can launch that into franchises. We can talk about whatever we want around this because Monkey Island's coming back.
Indeed, but may I just say the initial inspiration for this topic was a game that I was playing.
Yes.
That I got a code for, called Astro Ace, which is it's not twin stick, it's a arcade shooter. And I was thinking, they don't make enough of these, so, I'll give it a try. And I think by the fact that I played probably about an hour of it, like immediately after finishing work when I had other things to do yesterday, shows how much I miss the genre. And so I'll probably talk about a bit more about that next week.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Perfect. We can launch more into Astro Race next week. But yes, you're absolutely right. Astro Race and that sort of genre did spur the idea for this conversation. But I mean, luckily, someone decided that, or Ron Gilbert decided he was going to bring Monkey Island back. And this is it's not like a new one. It's not a reboot. It is a sequel to Monkey Island 2.
Chuck's Revenge. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Which sort of gets rid of Escape and
I hadn't thought
what's
about
this one called? Is it called Return to Monkey Island?
Yes.
All these,
I believe it is.
Gets
Return to Monkey Island.
Telltale one. Tales of Monkey Island.
Ooh.
And Escape from Monkey. It gets rid of a whole lot of the canon, basically.
Well, it'll be interesting if it does, or whether this is another story that kind of fits in between stuff. My memory of Monkey Island pretty much comes from the first 2 games, and I don't know off of my head whether then the 3rd game in the series picks up straight off of where the 2nd game kind of leaves, or whether there's a little bit of space if this is a direct sequel, or even whether we're still going to be with Guy. I would assume we would be, rather than it being different characters or some kind of other story. But yeah, it's. I think it's still a little way off before we actually get to experience.
I mean, they announced it for this year.
Yes.
Yeah, which is super exciting. But the Curse of Monkey Island is, I think, probably where I got on with the series because, the first 2 are very old and I was very young. But obviously gone back to play the others. But yeah, I played Curse of the Monkey Island all the way through. Was it last year?
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoyed that. So with the voice acting and the art style and stuff like that, and people have said like, "Oh, I'm not keen on the art style. What it looks like on this new one." It's like I couldn't give a crap what the art style is. It doesn't have to be pixelated or whatever. Just give me Monkey Island. Just give me more. So.
Yeah, I as we've been sort of chatting over on the Discord, Lucy, I know your kind of your genre that you'd like a bit more of. Not only is it sort of those sort of top-down shooters, but point-and-click games.
Yeah.
But you get a load of point-and-click games, Lucy.
I know, but I want the really obscure ones, where it's like none of this makes sense, and probably more in the, like instead of drag and drop kind of inventory based, I want like that kind of scum kind of interface.
Yeah.
I really like that with the verbs and stuff like that. So I like that, and I like the obscure like solutions because I love Thimbleweed Park, and what I loved about that game was that some of the solutions were so ridiculous, but if you got a sick brain like mine and it's wired that way, it just works fantastically, and it's very nostalgic in that way. Yeah, because there's tons of new point and click adventure games. Like Norco is one that I'm been playing recently. Haven't dived too much into it. I think I played about 2 hours or something like that, so still early-ish, and that is very much what I want out of like quote unquote modern point and click games. But sometimes you just need that old school nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, I think piggybacking on that, I do miss the bizarreness of games, and a lot of that had to do with not being able to put that much information in things, and then when you're like the limitation of what you could do back in the day meant that you lean into it, right? I was thinking when you you ever play like Hugo's House of Horrors?
No.
They're sort of they're like somewhere in between. They're like adventure games where you wander around a, a map, and like find objects, find
Oh.
keys. You know, you're going back and forth, but it's not. I think it's less point and click in the sense, and there's less trying to interact with the environment to solve the puzzle, and more trying to figure out what the fuck this thing that you found does, and fits in the sequence of events.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like a narrative Rube Goldberg machine. Um,
Mm.
and those don't exist at all anymore, really. If they do,
No,
they're
yeah.
the closest equivalent I think is like all those terrible horror games on Steam where you have to wander around the house finding the red key, and then that opens the door to the green key that,
Yeah.
coupled with the yellow key, allows you to use the blue key, and you'll get jump scared in the middle.
Because
But there's no like
yeah.
the bonkers, silly, bad logic, and like that sense of humor from those games, like Monkey Island and those, and even Leisure Suit Larry to an extent. Just yeah, I miss those. We don't have to make sense, and we can be weird, and it's okay if not everyone
Hmm.
likes our game. So our comedy can be
Yeah, because
not universal.
not conventional.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Because I was gonna say, I think that leads great into what I was gonna say. A deal where it's like I miss point and clicks adventure games, specifically that kind of like Shadowgate, Deja Vu kind of format where yeah, it's not exactly interacting with the environment with too many like you're not mixing too many things in your inventory. You're not interacting with the environment in many different ways, but it's like you're going through this environment like room by room, picking up items, saying okay, which one works on this trapdoor or whatever, and just dying in terrible ways. you know just like poking at the game and just like setting yourself on fire and stuff like that, just to see you know what the limitations of it are, and like which is all in the writing. Basically they're just like an extension of like text adventures, but
Yeah.
they've got like a graphical interface of you walking through an environment. I miss those kinds of games as well, like so much. And every now and then I just go to Google, it's just like, are there any new games that are like Shadowgate? Are there any? Because gosh, can't remember the name of them, but there's this one guy on itch.io. Gosh, I have to find the name, but he makes games like this, and I think he's making one in like the same vein. And like one of them was like my game of the year, like not game of the year, but in my top 10 for like game of the year a few years ago. But yeah, I love those kinds of games.
Nice. It's interesting, isn't it? Because a lot of that's going to come from like itch and those sorts of places these days. So it's really a kind of, I suppose, not a bad thing that the industry has kind of bowled into this much bigger kind of thing, and we're getting the way that sort of different genres have kind of taken the fore with the bigger budget games that are kind of coming out, but we're still, if you search for it, getting some of these experiences, and that kind of very easily leads me into saying I really miss like twin stick shooters, but like really well made, slightly bigger budget kind of twin stick shooters, and like the one that I always revert back to in a twin stick shooter, which I feel was one of the best controlled twin stick shooters, was Pixel Junk Shooter. Not a big budget, not a massively budget game, but I really enjoyed that. It's one that I always think back to when I'm like, oh, I'd really like to play a twin stick shooter. Oh, I really missed Pixel Junk Shooter, which was on like PS3, I think. It's around about that kind of generation of games. And there's probably a ton of them out there, but you've got to go searching on itch. You've got to get into the doldrums on Steam and see kind of what's out there, and you might be able to find a couple of really well made ones for like £2. But you're not
Who has the
hearing
time for
about
that,
them.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Not hearing about them. They're not in the sort of the gaming media. They're not being pushed on Steam or any of the other platforms very hard. You've kind of got to delve into these spaces to be able to find some of these games. It's not difficult, but as you say, Lucy, it's the time to be able to kind of find them. Especially if I could then just pay £120 a year for PlayStation Plus Premium Exclusive Deluxe Director's Edition, and get all of the Pixel Junk games, but to stream them because they're PS3 games, so you can't download them. But have I paid the extra to stream them, and is it in my country? Who knows? No one knows. And oh my god, streaming a twin stick shooter would be awful.
Hell, my
the
face
wrong
would
kind
just
of
melt.
bullet hell.
Yeah, like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, it would just melt off my face. Yeah. The name of the developer is Graph Metal, GRAHFMETAL, on itch, just in case you're hankering for those kinds of games. And it's like, how are you going to find these games, these people? But yeah, twin stick shooters definitely one. Just any arcade shooter. Like, to be fair, I do have to go back and play Space Harrier with motion controls. I've been meaning to do that because apparently on Switch, the version they released on there has motion controls. I don't want to see that mess.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're just like
Velocity.
all over the place with it.
I'd die immediately. I'd just collapse. Velocity 2X is a shooter where you can actually get out your ship and do platforming. I thought that worked really, really well. That's a PlayStation Vita game, so it's dead forever.
Never existed.
No. That's anyone at Sony. They're like,
well,
yeah.
Again, as we said, that with this new PlayStation tiered system, we're getting PS1, PS2, PS3, PSP, PS4 games. No Vita. Not even a mention of the
Never
system.
existed.
Just gone.
Yeah.
Removed forever.
I'm sure you'll be able to stream the one game Sony released exclusive to Xperia phones, though.
Some like Uncharted run game or something like that.
Yeah.
It's called Run Along There Now, Nathan. It's about his youth.
What about you, Aadil? What
I mean,
genres do you want to
like I said, the like oddball humor. I want to know what Hugo's House of Horrors would be called. What genre? You know what I'm talking about, have you?
Yeah, I mean, it's just listed as adventure/horror, so.
Yeah, I guess
that's
it's just
Wikipedia.
I guess it's just an adventure game in the 2D space that's like a little bonkers. I guess it's more adventure than point and click.
Yeah. I actually saw a game on GOG, which I actually bought because it was like £1 or something. I think it's called Waxworks, which was a 1992 game.
Oh, I was alive then.
I think you might like that if you like Hugo's House of Horrors.
Is it Wax? As in Wax Works? WORKS?
Yeah.
Oh,
so,
it's
not
like
some
a
sort of Waxworks kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dungeon crawler, but like with fixed scenes.
Oh wow!
What a cool looking game!
I
mean,
like,
just
cool.
search that. Just look at the images of it, and it's just like, oh shit, there's some things coming out of that man's face.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'll buy that.
Oh mate, I like the guy. I like the guy in the green suit.
You know what's crazy? That a game from 1992 needs half a gig of RAM.
It's all those shocking images. Oh yeah, his suit. That's too tight for him. That's excellent.
Who is this guy? It is like, but it's absolutely insane. Like that we've got games like this from 1992 where you have some of the scenes. So you've got the man with the stuff coming out of his face. You've got this purplish woman with a like throat cut, and they look pretty realistic. And then
Yeah, it's
the
good
man in
pixel
the
art, man.
green suit is just like pure caricature.
Yeah.
We didn't really know what to do with him. Here he is.
Suit that's like 3 times too small for him.
Wow, it's
Yeah.
got some intense looking scenes on the Google
Yeah.
Image search.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that type of game would be fun. I
The
mean,
thing
I
I
think
found solace in is that there's so many I didn't play back then that there's always like a
yeah, I
massive
guess
back catalogue.
that's sort of where, like, when you guys brought this up, I was like, I don't know if there's any genre I miss per se, because there's stuff that I haven't got around to.
Sure.
But I actually was thinking that, like, although I really liked Forza and I love it's like open world, sorry, Forza Horizon, I wouldn't mind a great arcade racer. And it's a genre that exists but hasn't been done well, so I'm sort of not
Oh,
quite
yeah.
adhering to the rules of the question. But
Like a Burnout kind of.
like, when was the
thing?
last? I think Burnout's Paradise was the last good one, and it was an open world, and I
Yeah.
kind of like the learning the track part of like
Yeah.
those or like when you just have some mates around and you just race around, and it
Yeah.
doesn't matter that you're like that experience. I mean, obviously, well, I mean, COVID doesn't exist. That's the government.
It's gone.
So like, yeah, Ben could come over. We could just race around. You know, that's a thing that doesn't really. There's no good version of that. Even if it was online, it
Yeah.
could still
Yeah.
like we just don't have that type. So it's not like I miss the
I
genre. I
mean,
miss the style the genre used to be.
Mm.
I guess is the thing, like the old Need for Speed games.
But I just think Forza is like the
It's
last
very
couple
close.
ones, especially like the best racing games I've ever played. Like, and I used to love racing games, but in terms of, I guess you'd maybe give that to like Mario Kart. I don't know. I don't like Mario Kart.
Kart racing and arcade racers are slightly different.
Yeah, but it's like if you're just looking to play with like a friend,
Yeah.
you know, like, and just have that. You don't care like who's driving the best or who's doing the best lines, and it's just who's quickest. I would have thought like the enjoyment you can get from a kart racer would get that feeling rather than, I don't know.
Well, there is a Bloodborne kart races being made, so maybe you can get into.
Having to go around the lap just to find your runes, or whatever they call them in that game. Yeah, so I don't know if there is a genre that I actually miss that much. I miss, like, so in theory I miss the old 2D platformers of the Genesis era, but that's just I miss the nostalgically enjoyed those times. But like, I don't go out of my way to play 2D platformers of that type, and I know they exist.
Or 2D Mario's specifically, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really tried to like even play like like the Mario's are a good example. I haven't played like the DS versions or whatever.
Of the 2D ones?
Yeah.
No, neither have I, because I just think I'll just play Mario 3, and that's the best game ever made. So
Yeah, I guess that's the thing is the way I miss those games. I kind of just like, when I'm talking about this, I'm like, oh, I'd play Aladdin for the Sega Genesis again.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, the Ninja Turtles fucking Konami release.
yeah.
We haven't talked about that somehow. We missed it on the week it was released. I am hyped. I would stream Ninja Turtles on the NES one. It would be terrible because it's an awful game. I hated it as a kid, but I would do that.
Yeah.
And then the good ones are in there too.
Nice.
That's another genre, like 2D side-scrolling beat 'em ups.
That's true.
Those. We all
Streets
like
of Rage 4 proves
Streets
that they can still do it.
Absolutely.
So, like, but I would welcome more of those.
Same.
It's good. I've got loads of press releases for the new Turtles game, so I'll see if I can get a code.
Get one, mate. I would not be sharing that, but take it for yourself by all means. I'd be like, screw everyone. Playing me some Turtles. Yeah, I played Injustice 2 with like playing as, because there was a Game Pass quest. I love that game. I loved it more than Tekken 7. Yeah, I just played as a Turtles. That was the one DLC I bought.
Oh, I forgot that existed.
Yeah.
That's still so strange to me.
So good. Just brings me joy.
Which is the best turtle to fight as in that game?
Probably not Michelangelo, who I always play as, but Michelangelo's my dude, So
I mean, he's everyone's dude. He is the
he's
quintessential
the
party
dude.
dude.
Exactly, and he's the best turtle in my opinion.
Ooh. I like Raphael because he's too emo for
I was
everybody.
I was like, there's a chance it's Leo, but I'm pretty sure it's just Depresso Raph.
Yep.
It's Donatello, man. Nerd who
I'm
builds
party
things,
dude,
drives
Mikey, all the way.
the giant van. Yeah.
Hey, Raphael,
Has the best
always
reach of all the
angry.
weapons in the games.
Yeah, you're just too hipster with your Raph choices. I'm just like, yeah, I picked the turtle that everybody likes because he's the party dude, of course.
No, mate, Raphael was like, he's so angry. I'm so angry. Done.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's because you were like a brooding teenager when that.
At that point, yes, absolutely. So it's one of those where if we'd have had this conversation like 18 months ago, I would imagine we'd absolutely would have talked about like Streets of Rage. Those sort of 2D side-scrolling kind of beat 'em ups and stuff. And yet, Streets of Rage came out. It was amazing. Or Streets of Rage 4, which is a really good game. And now we've got this Turtles game being kind of developed as well. That it's like all of these things aren't quite cyclical, but it's interesting how some things kind of stack up. Suddenly we get all of these battle royale games that come out, and it's not that they've seen one that was super popular, because those games that they're making would have been in development or on the drawing board at least years before. Suddenly they're kind of coming out with these, with some of the ones that we're talking about now, with the sort of the side-scrolling beat 'em ups, with maybe twin stick shooters, with the point and clicks. They're a little bit more niche, that I think they do follow that trend a little bit more. So suddenly if one does come out and it is really popular, that people suddenly go, yeah, we this thing that we've had in the back of our minds a little bit is going to be our next project. That is something that we can ride the wave a little bit on. And you're always going to get kind of like outliers, like someone like Ron Gilbert, who will live in that space perpetually and kind of want to do that thing constantly. And it's almost not maybe, with Monkey Island coming back, maybe not point and clicks, or because there are a range of point and click games out there, maybe it's very specifically like a Ron Gilbert point and click game that we want because of the level of humor that kind of comes into it and the way that it's sort of set up and things. It's I think one of the reasons why like Broken Age was just a fantastic kind of experience that we, again, in the point and click kind of space, haven't really had since.
Yeah.
We jump back to Broken Age a reasonable amount in this podcast, which is what now, 6 or 7 years ago.
It's like a million years ago.
Older than that, maybe even
a veritable age. Yeah. 2014.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh. I wasn't expecting that. I was like 16, right?
Well, 2014 was probably part one, I guess.
Yeah, second part probably came out.
Yep.
2016-ish. Yeah. Metrovanias, we don't get enough of those, do we? Alright.
I was thinking procedurally generated roguelikes.
Oh yeah, God.
None of them at all.
Souls-likes? Rogue Souls?
Oh, don't say those words.
I wish... I mean, I get that like JRPGs have evolved, but I do miss the space of like FF6 and before. But there's a lot of stuff being made because of RPG Maker in that like space, but nothing that's like, or at least I haven't heard of like really amazing entries into that type of game. Just like, this is a thing that was made in RPG Maker. But hey, listeners, viewers, comment below or tweet at us and let us know if I've missed a great old school Jerpaga.
What was
didn't you get along with you played Octopath Traveler, didn't you? So
it's different. Yeah, I mean it's different. I didn't finish it. I'd like to go back, although I hear that Triangle
strategy
game that they came out with is better.
Okay.
Worse name, but maybe a better game.
I mean,
What-
I don't
what-
actually remember
like,
what it was called.
Triangle Strategy is definitely like one of those code names that they went,
That
well,
just
we can do it, we can call it that, and then it got to a point where like, fuck, let's just not bother, just call it that.
The fact that that game sold like 800,000 copies or something like that is probably one of the modern miracles, because a name like that.
Oh, I
You
mean,
expect
it's
two
clearly
sales.
people who found out about Octopath, because you're right, it's not a real.
Imagine seeing that on a store shelf.
I mean,
Alright, Triangle Strategy. What
I
is
think
this?
honestly, it's one of the reasons. Like, I liked Octopath. I've been meaning to go back, but obviously, long RPGs. There is this like mental weight of, oh, if I start this up again, it's gonna eat up all my gaming hours, and I don't have those because it's too much Elden Ring time. But Triangle Strategy seems like the best of both worlds, because like I liked the Octopath like mechanics, but I'm a sucker for strategy games.
In a triangular form.
And like, yeah, but yeah, so it's like, wait, I can grid-based strat a game by these people in the same fluid art style. Seems like a slam dunk. Is it done? Is this an early access game?
The name maybe, but
Nah,
seems okay.
that definitely exists as a full product these days. One of the genres that I think, just to round us out, that I've kind of missed is, I mean, CRPG is kind of a weird term for a genre, computer role-playing game. Because all role-playing games are on the computer these days. But things like Baldur's Gate, and we've had stuff like Pillars of Eternity, Disco Elysium, yes, which kind of give you that more sort of turn-based kind of version. But I've been playing a little bit of Weird West, and that definitely fills that gap, even though it's a bit more twitchy, and it's all in real time with the combat and stuff like that. It definitely fills that little bit of a gap, and it's kind of got me going. When can I just do the next little bit? Can I just go on? I'll just go to the next area and I'll see what I can do in that little space.
Because I missed the boat on like those kinds of games, but it's like I love seeing them come back, because I just think like I love that kind of art style and the, isometric kind of view. It's just something that I can admire from afar, and it's like these games look cool, even though I may not be versed in them.
There's this. They like just released a bunch of D&D games. Dungeons & Dragons, Al-Qadim, The Genie's Curse, Stronghold, Kingdom Simulator, Dark Sun series, Kryn series, Ravenloft, like on the 29th of March. I saw them on Keymailer, but I didn't actually go further. But these are like
old school
re-releases, I assume, or very much old school looking games. But
they're re-releases. I think I saw that when it's like, we're just going to drop a ton of D&D games out on Steam or something like that. I was like, cool, do more of that. Drop more old games on Steam.
Yeah, so that'd be worth looking into if you missed any of those ones. They're now kind of
all of them. I missed.
One of them's like a Kingdom Simulator. So it's all kinds of different genres. So I don't know how many of them are like CRPGs, but I assume at least one.
They are called, if you'd like to get into the on Steam at least, the Gold Box Classics, Dungeons and Dragons Gold Box Classics. The Dark Sun series, Forgotten Realms, the Archives, Ravenloft, as you said, Aadil, and Kryn series. I don't think I played any of these games.
I hadn't heard of any of them. That's why, because I just saw them in Keymailer, but I was like, I don't think these are like for first looks. For example, I don't think an hour of them would probably be that great. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I was like, how have I never heard of these? Are they like retro style? Like, no, there's no way. But yeah, they exist, I assume. So you should do that.
So again, they're Westwood games, but I like how the developer is listed as Westwood Associates. and then it's probably made by these people who Strategic Simulations have probably up-res them and brought them to life.
Yeah, there's a bunch of devs.
Yeah.
There's Micromagic, Dreamforge Interaction, Strategic Simulation, Stormfront Studios.
I do enjoy that. I've just clicked onto Forgotten Realms, the Archives, Collection 1, to see what was in that. And on the trailer that popped up to play, the first thing that comes up saying, an official advanced Dungeons & Dragons computer product. Brilliant. So you know that
what you wanted, a computer RPG.
And I mean, I played so many of these kinds of games. Like, you look at some of the screenshots of them, and you're like, I mean, yep, I played this. I haven't played this game, but I've played this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh god,
absolutely.
they're so. I mean that Waxworks kind of looks like it's a similar vein. With
Yes.
The, like,
yeah.
Like there is a picture, and then you have a slight UI, and then you've got buttons that allow you to move forward or backwards. By buttons, I mean like click on the button.
Yeah. Nice.
Heaven forbid using arrow keys or anything to navigate a video game. What are you, a mad person? Now that I think about it, these games must be great for like touch screens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were almost all like mouse based, right?
There's lots of there is a lot of typing with these kinds of things as well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't have a little keyboard rolled up, especially in that 4:3. You know, in the 4:3 screen on your wider screen, just having a little keyboard down the side would be nice and easy, just to be able to input stuff as you go.
Shadowgate iOS. No.
That's it. We're not going to talk about any more games that we've been playing this episode. We're just going to research games that we now will be spending a ridiculous amount of time playing.
Yeah, because I remembered Devil Dice. I told you like this on the weekend. It's just like, okay, something just comes to you, and it's like, remember that game I played? It's like I haven't thought about that game in 25 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might play some Devil Dice on an online emulator.
Nice. Well, Lucy, you might be able to pay Sony some money to be able to play the PS1 version of Devil Dice. Maybe, if it's one of the games that could be coming to this. Who knows? Who knows what games those will be?
So, mate. I don't think so.
But all of the things that we've kind of been talking about, none of us have delved into this idea of the PlayStation back catalogue. None of us are kind of chomping at the bit to get Metal Gear Solid on a modern kind of console to be able to play.
I have a PS3 right there.
Yeah.
Guys, this game sold over 1 million units.
Wow.
Shadowgate?
864.
No, Devil Dice.
Maybe. 864,844 in Japan.
Oh, wow.
Just in Japan?
Re-released. Yeah, and the rest in...
So over 1 million over. Yeah, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah. And the rest elsewhere, whatever. I was probably the one person who bought it secondhand or something.
There is one person that brought it in the UK for you to be able to have it secondhand. Yes.
Yeah. It was a demo version was released on PS3 and PSP, but not the full game. Sony been doing strange things for a while.
I mean, Sony are doing strange things. Have you seen this whole fucking Abandoned stuff? That PS5 exclusive game that everyone thinks is a front for a Kojima exclusive game for PlayStation. That there was this weird video by the developer. I mean, it wasn't weird, but people read into it so much that it appeared that it was kind of a bit weird. And I think over the last few days, or maybe last week sometime, whoever does their social media, whether it is this kind of single dev, whether he's got some people kind of doing stuff for him, supposedly a load of tweets were deleted. And it was looking like Abandoned had either been cancelled or they were abandoned. It just kind of wasn't going to kind of be. But there's another podcast host, Colin Moriarty, who has just done an interview with this guy for his podcast. I mean, I'm not going to listen to it or watch it, but
screw him.
yeah, absolutely. But I want to know what the guy said enough to be like, what is going on with this product? Is it one of these kinds of things where Sony's kind of in the background and they're like, yeah, of course you can put your game on our system. All we want to do is like certify it and make sure it's okay. And the guy comes back to him and says, what if we did an app and it's a demo and we can put it on the PS5 as an exclusive and all this sort of stuff, and sort of sells what he's doing, and someone at Sony are like yeah, PT. Cool. Yeah, like PT. Yeah. And someone at Sony's like, yeah, absolutely. That sounds great. And then it's just getting to that point where they're not delivering and it's not happening, and suddenly they're backtracking massively, and Sony are like, whatever. We you know, we've only just really thought about putting PS1 and PS2 games under a subscription, let alone worrying about you fella over there doing whatever it is you're doing.
It just seems like a hot mess, and you probably want to avoid that dumpster fire at all costs, because I only know, because as soon as I saw like people getting crazy about Kojima conspiracy theories in this game, I was like, well, I'm noping out of this immediately. So yeah.
Oh wow, yeah. There's apparently Blue Box has a checkered past with releasing games. So I was just doing some mild research. I think it's probably not worth it. The point is, it's definitely a developer that's not Kojima. I don't think he would go into a secret pact with a checkered past developer who hasn't really released games so much as continuously promised a lot. Whether that info is solid or not, I think even those rumors would probably be like, no, let's not use that as our secret studio.
Yeah. I think it's, as you say, Ben, just people are reading into things too much. I mean, I'm sure if you reworked my initials, you could make Ron Gilbert out of it and say, you know, Ron Gilbert, Return of Monkey Island. That's an anagram of Lucy Earwood. In case
I mean, it tracks. I'm not going to do the math.
We divided it by your birth year. We then times it again by the month and day that you were born. We did some other bits as well in there somewhere. But yeah, this is where we got.
And then I got doxxed because everyone knew my details. Yeah.
Amazing.
Video games, eh? Funny.
Aren't they grand?
They're a joy, aren't they? They're a joy. Just to finish us out for the episode, we've had point and click games. We've had kind of not quite text adventures, but older kind of RPG-ish action kind of games.
I think the thing that keeps the old school JRPG and that type of game in common is like the not having to do a lot of platforming, but having to pay attention to what's on screen.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like we've lost that space a bit in our adventure games. Tend to be because you can make it a jumpy game. And our RPGs, well, why not have them as action RPGs? Because then it's more fun than just wandering about. But it's like, actually, there is a time, like when I'm lying in bed, I want my Switch and just want to play a game where it's not that I don't want a challenge, I just don't want a twitchy challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mario free, just play it. I was honestly reaching for it over the weekend, and my Switch was out of battery, and that's the only reason I didn't play through that game.
Nice. I always kind of think, has it been long enough for me to return to Return of the Obra Dinn? Has that information gone out of my memory enough for me to go back to it and think, oh, can I get the notepad out again? Like that kind of paying attention
did you sit
to
on
things.
A boat? What? Really?
The Obra
Where's
Dinn?
Mr. Dinn? Which one use Mr. Dinn? Hello.
But I completely get that idea of paying attention. It's those kinds of games which engross you enough, but are trying to tell you a story and get you to react to that and take that information on board. and say, yes, what have I got? That you're furiously scribbling on notepads to take down notes of who people may be, who, you know, what's happening and that kind of stuff, without it being like everywhere, jumping kind of, you know, either twitchy or not through sort of environments and stuff. So yeah,
absolutely. More games that you need like a notebook for. I'm not talking about like Elden Ring, which is just like more of a UI problem, but more of like, you know, solving mysteries and logic puzzles. So yeah, more games like that.
Perfect. Good.
Yeah.
So they're games, the genres that we would like to see a little bit more of, and experience. So as Aadil mentioned earlier, if you listener know of any experiences like that we haven't touched on, and you want to chuck our way, please do, at TankedUpCast over on Twitter. Let's jump back into our beers. Lucy, we will come to you for fresh.
Yeah. Really good. I think after a while of drinking it, it became a bit. I think it's more medium body than light body than I thought. Maybe just sweating the can around and getting more of that goodness and yeast and juice into it. But yeah, it's lasted me. It's a really nice one to sip on. It's got, you know, just leaves this lasting taste of fruit in my mouth. So it's yeah, very fruit forward, but not a juice bomb. Say it's still got a nice bit of bitterness, nice bit of pininess, giving it a bit of zing and freshness in it. Yeah, really good beer. And yeah, it says fresh on the can, but it tastes real fresh. So I'm very happy. I love Crak. Just gonna live in Italy.
I mean, not even for the beer, mate. Just, you know.
Oh god, yeah. For the seafood and the relaxing way of life, that Mediterranean sun. Why am I still here?
Very good question.
Oh.
Oh, mate, get yourself a little property over there. You know, make sure it's got enough rooms for us. We're there. We're done.
Yeah. You lot coming with me. I don't know what you're talking about. That's part of the deal.
Just eschew the family. It's fine. I'm off. See ya. Aadil, the Whiplash. Final thoughts.
I really liked it. I think it if you were looking for like a porter light, I think this is a great beer, and I say that because if you're looking for a brown ale, it might be a little too malty, a little too sort of burnt malty. It is very robust, as the tin says, and that's great if that's the type of brown ale you want. But if you were not quite looking for that, I think you'd be a little let down. But it's also like it's not. I mean, it's not a porter, so it's one I could easily have a second can of this. It was a nice sipping beer. It was 330 ml can. Just finished it, within the hour. Sipping and talking. Really like how long the finish is. Yeah, a little nice malty, slightly sweet, a little acrid, but like way in the back, in the way that I think if it was like a full-fledged porter, you might be a little more like, yes, I want to get rid of that taste. So yeah.
Nice, fair.
You're a like kind of dark beer porter king on this podcast. King of the porters.
I do like them. I was saying to someone on the weekend how much the drinks I like tend to be strong, strong and simple. Like we're talking about cocktails. I'm like, to be honest, like I just want like Scotch neat.
Yeah.
Fuck that water shit. Like I just like I like the robustness. I'm fine with taking my time if it's a very strong flavor, but the strong flavor is not a thing I shy away from.
Yeah.
Do you feel Black Russian? Or White Russian?
And even like when I make martinis, it's basically frozen gin with a splash of vermouth. Like it's.
I bet there's no vermouth in it, really.
Yeah.
No, there is. It makes a difference. It just you don't need a lot to make that difference.
See, Renaissance man, told you.
Absolutely. I think Verdant are a good case for not needing a lot to make a difference, as well. This beer was really good. It mellowed as I drank it. I don't know why it's called 5 a.m. Maybe it is a beer for drinking it at 5 a.m. But it did mellow as I drank it, and the initial kind of mango flavour subsided a little bit. The bitter, sort of more smoky bitterness right at that end again subsided a little bit, and really it was that more ripe, danker note that stuck around in maybe the last sort of quarter or last third of the beer. I think if this had been maybe a 330, the whole beer would have been just that little bit fresher in its presentation, in what I was kind of getting from it. It was definitely the final bit which kind of went, oh yeah, my palate is completely acclimatized to this now, and this overriding sort of a deeper, danker flavour is sort of what is sitting here. But that doesn't detract from the beer and the rest of the experience that I had with it, and that dank flavour isn't unpleasant. It's not a bad flavour. It's still a nice kind of flavour to be that lasting impression of it. So yeah, a solid beer, another solid beer from Verdant. Lovely smooth and very medium sort of body and mouthfeel to it as well, as the water down that way gives us almost with every Verdant beer, really.
They're just like the three breweries I love, like Verdant, Whiplash, and Crack. You know, so,
we've hit it one episode. We've hit the trifecta for one episode. That's the only time we'll ever do it. Brilliant. Friend, listener, if you want to tell us about the beers that you've been drinking, or the games that you've been playing, or the genres or games that you'd like to see a little bit more of, things that you want people to make and have a little bit of a comeback, you can go to outoflives.net and comment on the podcast post over there. You can hit us up at TankedUpCast on Twitter, or maybe on Instagram. We post on there very infrequently. You can get all of us as well. I'm at over_47. Lucy is
Juicy Loose 9.
And Aadil is. You've turned your mic off.
That's he just has no name. He's the
artist
formerly known. The artist formerly known as the
Omnia. Didn't want the clickety clack to.
That's fair. Yeah. And you can hit us all up over on Twitter or on your gaming platform of choice if you want to see if we're about for some game playing, or you've got something that you can I can share this store link, this Steam link for this obscure point and click game, which it sounds right up sort of Lucy's alley, or this odd kind of game from the 90s, which I know Aadil is going to be dying to play. Yeah, come and do that as well. You can hit up the Out of Lives YouTube page, where you can see us, our beautiful faces, and the beers that we've been drinking as well, or the Twitch Out of Lives Network, and join us each and every week for our live recording. We can come and chat to us if you wanted to whilst we're doing the episode. They're all the places that we inhabit, they're the beers that we drank, they're the games that we have played. No, they're not. The games that we want to see and want to play. We've not talked about games we played.
We've played Devil Dice. Everyone's played that.
We've played some games at some point. We just didn't talk about them necessarily. I
played one earlier today on First Looks. Ooh. It wasn't great.
Oh. We'll dive into that next week, shall we?
Yeah.
So, yeah, perfect. Thank you for joining us. We've been Tanked Up. Catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
www.outoflives.net